She flipped over one card and said, "There's another woman in his field." Everyone laughed. Except me. Because somewhere, deep in my chest, something cracked open like a bad egg. Quiet, sour, real. It was supposed to be fun. Just a birthday surprise for my husband, hosted by one of his crunchy coworkers in a wine-soaked backyard full of succulents and half-melted charcuterie. You know the type? Cheap fairy lights, girls in wide-brimmed hats, and oracle candles that smelled like overpriced sage and regret. The tarot reader looked like every Etsy seller I'd ever been scammed by. Big silver hoops, flowing sleeves, nails painted matte black. She introduced herself as Moon, which was probably short for something she didn't want subpoenaed. I rolled my eyes when he sat down. He grinned at me like, "Play along, babe," and I did. I always did. "Let's see what energy surrounds your heart," she purred, fanning the cards with all the drama of a magician at a kid's party. First card, the Lovers. Hugh gasps. Second, Three of Swords. Hugh jokes. But then came the third card. She looked at him, then at me. Then said, "There's another woman, she's already here." And everyone cracked up like it was a roast. Someone said, "Uh-oh, triangle alert." Someone else snapped a pic. But I just blinked, stared at the edges of her face, burned the name Moon into the folds of my brain like a warning label. I didn't say anything, just smiled, pretended it was harmless. And for the rest of the night, I let it slide. Like all the other small things. The late work meetings. The extra phone privacy. The shift from "love you" to just "you too." Because maybe I wanted it to be a joke. Maybe I needed it to be. Until a week later, when I was scrolling through Instagram on my lunch break and saw a Reels caption that stopped my breath mid-sip of my sad boxed kale salad. Client came through for a quick energetic clearing. Love this one. It was a selfie. Moon. Same silver hoops, same smug smirk. Same matte nails curled into the shoulder of my husband. And the kicker. She tagged it. Energy match, post-reading bliss, protect what you call in. I zoomed in like it was CSI. There he was, my husband. Half in frame, fully relaxed, holding a smoothie and wearing the shirt I got him for Christmas. And I knew. This wasn't energy. This was intimacy. She wasn't guessing. She was gloating. She didn't read his energy. She had memorized it. And suddenly, every awkward glance she gave me at the party, every smug smirk, every knowing pause in her tarot shtick, it all clicked. She knew who I was. And I knew exactly where I'd seen her before. Not just that night. Not just on Instagram. I'd bought candles from her Etsy shop 2 years ago. They came melted, misspelled, and smelled like boiled dirt. I left a 1-star review that read, "Don't call it a spell if it's a soggy soy lump. Total waste." She had replied simply, "Some people reject the magic they're not ready for." Turns out she wasn't just a scammer. She held grudges. And I just watched her manifest mine. Before the party, before the cards, before the crystal-licking snake priestess with her chalkboard aura. There were signs. Small. Dismissible. But signs still. Like how he stopped sleeping on his side of the bed. How he started journaling in the mornings, furiously, but wouldn't tell me what it was about. How he called our routine stagnant in the middle of a Trader Joe's parking lot after I asked if he wanted cauliflower gnocchi or not. "I just feel like we're not evolving," he said, like our marriage was an iOS app that needed a firmware patch. I laughed at the time. Because what else do you do when your husband starts quoting TikTok therapists between sips of cold brew? He was going through a phase. That's what I called it. You know the one, late 30s, spiritual rebrand. Chakras, shadow work, that one YouTuber who yells, "Heal your inner boy," while burning Palo Santo in a yurt. He bought a singing bowl. He saged the cat. He started calling my anxiety low vibration energy when he forgot to pick up the dry cleaning. And I let it slide. Because if the worst thing he was doing was meditating badly and buying too many gemstones from Facebook Marketplace, fine. There were worse things to worry about. Like our silence over dinner. Like how his phone never left his pocket anymore. Like how he started referring to me as my partner instead of my wife, especially in front of people I didn't know. Subtle, right? But marriage doesn't crack with a bang. It erodes. Little by little. Like how I started going to bed before him. Or how he stopped asking about my day. Or how our Sunday errand runs became 2 solo trips to the same Target at different times. So when he said he'd planned a surprise for his birthday, I got hopeful. Hopeful that maybe, just maybe, he was trying. That maybe the cards, the reader, the new age glimmer in his eyes, maybe it would lead to reconnection. What it led to was Moon. And she didn't come out of nowhere. Because once I saw the selfie, I went deep. Scrolled her entire feed. Past the memes and candle photos. Back to the beginning. And there it was. A post dated 6 months ago. Captioned, "Sometimes clients come through twice, first in confusion, then in clarity. Grateful to watch it unfold." The photo. A blurry shot of him, my husband. Same profile, same hoodie, same little crescent moon tattoo on his wrist that I once said looked like a mosquito bite. He'd been seeing her. Not just sleeping with her. Seeing her. Energetically, emotionally, spiritually. He'd started talking to Moon months before the party. Not as a friend. Not as a reader. As a mirror. And you know what the worst part was? I had no idea. I was busy folding his laundry. Buying oat milk. Researching if heated weighted blankets were safe. And he was finding his truth in another woman's deck of cards. I confronted him the same day I found the photo. I didn't yell. Didn't accuse. Just slid the phone across the kitchen island and asked, "When did she stop being a reader and start being your reflection?" He blinked. And the way his mouth tightened before he spoke. That was my answer. "She's not what you think," he said. "Oh," I said. "So she's not the woman rubbing your aura and tagging you in captions about realignment." "She helped me see the cracks," he said, eyes wide like a kid caught stealing lunch money but somehow convinced he was the victim. I laughed. "She sold you the hammer and you think she's a healer." He winced. "She didn't do anything physical." That's when I really saw red. Because if you're measuring betrayal in thrusts and not trust, you've already crossed the line. "She said there was someone else," I whispered. "At your birthday party." She looked me in the eye and said it. Was that for fun, or was it just phase 2 of your awakening? He didn't answer. Just stood there, one hand on the counter, breathing like he was the one under attack. "I didn't mean for it to get complicated," he said. And that's when I knew we were done. Because cheating is one thing. But getting spiritually scammed into emotional infidelity by a woman who I'd literally left a bad Etsy review for. That's just insulting. I wish I could say I walked away then. That I packed a bag, slammed the door, and left him standing in his grounded masculine energy, with nothing but his crystals and guilt. But no. I stayed. Because when you love someone that much, you don't just leave after the first shot. You wait to see if it was a warning or a war. Spoiler, it was war. After our not an affair confrontation, he started walking around like a guy who just barely dodged a breakup. Sweaty with relief, overcompensating like crazy. He made breakfast, lit candles, sent me reels about healing through conflict. He even suggested couples therapy. With her, I'm not joking. She offers integrated sessions. It's not therapy, it's energy recalibration you'd really benefit from. I didn't even let him finish. I just blinked at him. Are you seriously suggesting I pay your mistress to fix my marriage? He looked genuinely confused. She's not my mistress, she's intuitive. I said no, she's intentional, and I'm done being polite about it. That's when I started digging. Because yeah, I remembered the Etsy store, the trash candles, the fake moonstone that gave me a rash, but I hadn't connected it until now. I went back into my inbox, typed in moon rituals, and there it was. Order confirmation. 2 hand-poured intention jars and 1 banishing bath soak that arrived 3 weeks late and smelled like expired Fabuloso. And beneath it, my review. These were honestly laughable. 1 candle exploded in the sink. If this is energy work, I hope she never lights a match near actual power. Her reply again. Some people reject the magic they're not ready for. I remember rolling my eyes at the time. Now it read like a curse. I clicked on her profile. She changed the shop name since then, rebranded, doubled down. Moon wasn't just selling spell kits anymore. She was offering full-on soul journeys, tarot, breathwork, sexual polarity coaching, custom curses, cord cuttings. I looked at her testimonials, and there it was. My words, lifted straight from my old review, repackaged as a client transformation story. 1 woman came in calling my candles laughable. Now she's living in full alignment with her truth after her marriage dissolved to make space for real love. I nearly choked. She used my review as advertising. She sold my divorce like a makeover. I kept scrolling, sick to my stomach. Live Q&A. Moon in her bedroom, candles burning. And there in the comments, his username. Not even a burner account. Just him commenting. This woman changed my life. Grateful doesn't even cover it. I stared at the screen, not blinking. This wasn't just an affair. It was a conversion. She hadn't seduced him, she coached him into leaving me. And the kicker, she knew who I was the entire time. Because a week later, I got a DM from a burner. No profile pic, 1 follower. Message. Maybe next time, don't call people fake, just because your reality wasn't strong enough to hold them. I knew it was her. She was taunting me, using her own language. That syrupy, smug, you chose this, tone she wrapped around everything like gift wrap around a gut punch. I didn't reply. I screenshotted it, made a new folder, titled it, Moon's Curse, Evidence, because this wasn't going to end with me crying over tea leaves. This was about to become a reckoning. I wasn't going to key her car. I wasn't going to slash his tires. I wasn't even going to make a burner account to comment, how's his wife, under her live streams. Because that would have been cathartic. And catharsis wasn't what I wanted. I wanted documentation. I wanted a story, so airtight it would choke on its own incense smoke. So I went back to her site. Moonrituals.com tagline, don't wish for love, work for it. Sure, Moon, let's work. She had a menu of services. Custom spell work, $222. Energetic ties reading, $144. Love magnet jar, $66. Petition spells for stuck energy. That one caught my eye. It had a box to write your intentions. So I filled out the form like any good wife-turned-witch wannabe. Client name, Samantha V. Email, throwawayburningsage@protonmail.com. Request. I'd like a customized love spell to bring peace and romantic clarity to someone I care about deeply. He's been through a confusing time, torn between the old and the new, between truth and projection. I trust your energy. I know you can help him step into what he's meant for. His name is Oliver. He's emotionally open, seeking answers, and ready to be aligned. Oh, and could you inscribe the jar with, to my already ex-husband, from the woman who wouldn't let you rewrite the story. I hit submit. And paid. In full. $222 for the cleanest legal revenge I'd ever engineered. 3 days later, a jar arrived. Lavender obsidian. Hair thin wire. A rolled-up scroll I didn't dare untie. The label, handwritten in loopy black ink. To Oliver, may you be clear, released, and called to truth. I held it up in the kitchen. Turned slowly toward my phone. Hit record. The video opened with me lighting a black candle, calmly narrating. This is the jar Moon made for my husband, at my request, after she energetically aligned him out of our marriage. I held up the order confirmation. Then the burner DM. Then the original Etsy review with her reply. Then I panned to the jar. I asked her to do this spell for my ex, and she did for money. Which means, if it works, I hexed my ex legally. I smiled into the camera. And if it does, well, I've still got the receipt. The video went live under the title, How I Hexed My Ex Using Her Own Ritual Kit. It hit 300K views in 48 hours. People were feral. Comments flooded in. This is the most elegant revenge I've ever seen. You cast her as the villain and the vendor. Genius. This woman paid $222 to cast a protective spell on herself using her enemy. I'm buying merch. I didn't sell merch. But someone made a fan edit. Captioned, Wife Witch Winner. Meanwhile Moon. Radio silence. No public response. No clapback. Just a quiet shift. Her site went down for restructuring. Her testimonials vanished. And her top TikTok muted due to community violations. But the best part, my ex texted me. A single line. Did you really pay her to do a spell on me? I replied, no, I paid her to show me who she really was. You just proved it worked. I thought that would be the end of it. The jar. The video. The punchline. Clean, closed, poetic. But then the video kept spreading. Not just on TikTok. Reddit picked it up. Then Twitter. Then Instagram meme pages that normally post astrology slander and tell me you're toxic without telling me reels. Suddenly, I was the woman whose husband cheated with a tarot reader. I was the one who hexed him back, politely, on brand, and with receipts. People started tagging me in other people's revenge videos. There were fan theories. Reaction compilations. A girl even messaged me saying, I lit a black candle while watching your video and sent it to my ex with a playlist called You're the Curse. You changed me. And that's when the spiral started. Because as funny as it was, I couldn't breathe. My hands shook when I scrolled comments. My phone wouldn't stop buzzing. And for every iconic queen, there was a. This is literally abusive. This is why men date out. Imagine being this bitter and spending $200 for it. Even some of my friends started getting weird. One sent me a link to an article titled, Is Feminist Revenge Going Too Far? Another texted, okay, but like, what if she's really a good person? That one made me want to scream. Because here's the thing. Moon wasn't my obsession. She was just the vessel. The one who thought she could rewrite me out of my own marriage and call it alignment. The one who smirked through a lie and monetized the ashes. So no, I wasn't sorry. But I was fine either. Because for all the digital applause, I was still coming home to a half-empty closet and toothbrush cups with one brush. I still had to cancel the couple's massage we booked pre-breakup. I still had to tell my mom. And I still had to cry into my sleeve while deleting our shared calendar because I couldn't bear to see date night written in bold every Thursday. But the internet doesn't care about that part. The quiet, the weird grief. The guilt that creeps in when the high fades. Because suddenly you're not a wife or a woman or a person who was wronged. You're content. And that's when the podcast invite came. It was from a show called Modern Karma, hosted by some TikTok famous therapist/thought leader who made grief sound like a TED Talk with better lighting. The email subject: "Your story is bigger than you think." At first, I ignored it. Then I reread it. Then I forwarded it to my therapist. "Yes, I have one." No, she wasn't amused. We FaceTimed. She looked directly at me and said, "You took control, but you're not done, and you're confusing attention with closure." I rolled my eyes so hard I thought they'd stick. "Do you think I regret it?" "No," she said. "I think you need to make sure the world knows you were right, because he never admitted you were." And that hit me. Because she was right. This wasn't revenge. This was documentation. Proof that I didn't just get hurt, I understood it. That I didn't just survive it, I decoded it. And the hex. That was just the thesis. So I said yes to the podcast. But on one condition. I want to read from the journal I wrote the day after I found out. No edits, no reels, no intro music, just truth. They agreed. And I showed up. Not as the woman who hexed her husband. Not as the witchy meme icon. As me. Hair in a claw clip. No makeup. Voice shaking. Reading aloud the sentence that still echoes in my ribs. He said she pulled the cards randomly. But she knew my name before she ever touched the deck. The podcast dropped on a Thursday. By Friday morning, it was trending on Spotify. By Saturday, it was all over TikTok. And by Sunday, I was getting emails from BuzzFeed, Vice, and some random documentary producer in Sweden. But I didn't care about any of that. Because for the first time, I felt still. Not vindicated. Not famous. Just steady. Like I'd finally said the thing out loud, and now the monster couldn't live in my throat anymore. I turned my phone off for 2 days. Went at the beach. Ate fries in silence. Let the world keep spinning without me. But of course, it didn't stay quiet. Because she posted a video. Of course she did. Moon. On her backup account, naturally. The main one still under content review. The video was titled, "The Truth About the Hexed Husband and the Woman Who Blamed Me." And yes, I watched it. Twice. It opened with her sitting in front of a window full of plants, speaking in that slow, falsely soft voice you use when trying to sound like the bigger person. She said she didn't want to add fuel. She said she was attacked by a stranger with unresolved wounds. She said her work had never involved that man romantically. Then she said this: "He came to me for healing after his wife left him emotionally long before they split physically. He was lost, and he brought a necklace she gave him, a little silver pendant shaped like a shell, asking me to help him let go." My breath stopped. A shell necklace. That necklace. I bought it for him during our honeymoon in Chalum. It wasn't expensive. Just a small silver shell on a leather cord. He wore it almost every day. It was ours. And it was never posted. Never tagged. Never mentioned anywhere online. No photos, no captions, nothing. I made sure of that. Because it was just for us. So the only way she'd know about that necklace. He told her. While we were still married. Not after. Not in grief. Not as a lost man. While he gave her something sacred. He handed it over. Let her hold it. Talk about it. Name it in public. And in that moment, something inside me snapped clean. Because this wasn't just betrayal. It was theft. She hadn't just hexed my ex. She colonized my memories. And now she was monetizing those too. So I did the only thing that felt right. I recorded my own response. One take, no edits. Just me holding the necklace. I looked into the camera and said, This is the necklace he gave to you. But I bought it. I picked it out. I paid for it. And now I'm reclaiming it. I dropped it into a glass bowl. Poured oil. Lit a match. Watched it burn until the leather curled like ash and the shell cracked down the middle. I ended the video with, "If you're going to read my story in cards, at least spell my name right next time." And then I hit upload. Caption: Final reading. People keep asking if I believe in tarot now. Funny, right? Like after all this, I'd let a stranger shuffle my future into 3 cards and call it insight. But I get it. It's not about the cards. It's about control. About wanting something to make sense. To fit. To mean something. And the truth is, I don't think Moon ruined my marriage. I think she found the cracks. Lit a candle. And poured wax into every one of them. He was already leaving. She just gave him the language to justify it. Healing. Energetic misalignment. Shadow work. New age breakup vocabulary dressed in lavender oil and self-righteousness. But here's the part no one talks about. There is no clean ending. No spell that makes it stop hurting. No viral moment that replaces the memory of hearing him say, "She listens better than you ever did." There are just days. Normal, stupid days. Like Tuesday, when I threw out the mug he gave me. Not because it reminded me of him, but because the handle cracked and I didn't want to risk cutting my thumb again. Or Thursday, when I saw a guy in Whole Foods who looked just like him from behind, same jacket, same posture, and my stomach dropped like it used to when I waited for a text that never came. Or Sunday, when I walked past a crystal shop and didn't flinch. That was a big one, but it's not dramatic. It's not something you can post. Healing, real healing, is boring. It's taking the trash out without wondering if he ever thinks about you. It's walking through the house in silence without narrating the pain. It's letting go without letting them win. Because the truth is, Moon didn't win. Not because I defeated her, but because I stopped performing for her. For him. For everyone watching the show. I stopped being the wronged wife, the witch hunter, the icon. And I just became a person again. Someone who learned to sit with betrayal and not decorate it. Someone who could laugh at her own pettiness. Own her rage. Burn a necklace and still cry after. Not because it hurt, but because it was mine. And maybe that's the closest thing we get to justice. Not revenge. Not exposure. Just return. To yourself. To your voice. To your own damn intuition. I don't need a reader to tell me what's coming next. I trust myself now. I pull my own cards. And when they shake in my hands, I don't look away. Subscribe to my Mia's Stories YouTube channel for raw, emotional stories and authentic insights that encourage healing, growth, and understanding. Don't forget to be part of a supportive space where stories inspire and lessons resonate. What do you think about this story? Let us know in the comments. Your opinion truly matters to us, and we're here for you.